Next coverage or aftermath coverage is Ryan Garcia, aka Crying Garcia, against. Now here's some controversy that happened. I refer to him because he's from Ghana, Emmanuel Tagoe, because he's from Ghana, and so I know some of the pronunciations from Ghana. The commentators called him Tagoe. I'm going to leave it there of whichever you do. I'm going to say he's Tagoe because he's Ghana. Regardless, Ryan Garcia, Crying Garcia's the expectation was that he was going to return after his long layoff and canceling 2 fights back to back. He was going to return and make a significant statement. It's not that he didn't make a statement. He made a statement with a very dominant, wide decision. You could argue that it was a blowout. You could argue that he completely washed Tagoe. And there was never a situation where Tagoe won a round. Even though Tagoe was somewhat competitive, he wasn't anywhere near Garcia's class in the fight. Certainly the trash talk leading up would have let you think that Tagoe was going to show up and at least try to fight. Tagoe didn't fight. He was defensive. It was like watching Clottey in there when Clottey fought Manny Pacquiao. That's what this fight reminded me of. And Tagoe should be ashamed of himself for doing all that trash talking and then just going on the raw defensive, basically avoiding getting knocked out. He gets dropped early in the fight. Okay, that happens. Ryan Garcia is trying. He's trying his hardest to get the guy out of there, but he can't seem to do it. It goes 12. Unanimous 12. I think one judge gave Tagoe a round. I'm not sure why, because I didn't see that Tagoe won a single round. And it's not like it looked lesser on Ryan Garcia. The problem is that with this kind of opponent doing what he was doing, there were some flaws that I noticed. Number one, Garcia, it's not like his defense is leaky. It's not like it's a leaky defense, but I can only describe it as a leaky defense because what he tends to do is he's so focused on throwing, he doesn't protect himself. He's so committed to the throw. Like if he'll throw a right, he's so committed to it that he's not guarding what comes back at him because he's so convinced that what he lands is going to be so strong and dominant against his opponent that he's not going to be hit back. If he goes up against the right kind of opponent, that's fast enough that could evade that shot. He's extremely vulnerable to counters. We've seen that happen before where he's been countered off shots that he throws. That was on display here. That has not been fixed. This, of course, is the first fight where Garcia is outside of Reynoso's gym. We don't know what effect that plays. He's now apparently in his own gym, and he's working with his own people and trying to build his own identity and his own style. I felt like it's not like he's lacking anything. Like nothing was a step back, per se. Just that he has the same flaws that we would expect should have been fixed by now, especially with the layoff. Kind of looking at his past fights, situations where he's gotten clipped, it's almost like he's working on the wrong things. Nobody questions his power. Nobody questions his accuracy. Nobody questions his speed. But defense has been a challenge for him to the point where at some point somebody's got to sit him down and say, okay, it's time for us to work on some defensive fundamentals for you. When you're throwing, you still got to protect yourself in the throw. Sean Porter talked about it on a couple of occasions about when you throw and it's kind of instinctive that you're going to protect yourself off the throw. Same as Ifa Jaba. It's like some fighters get so mentally focused on the throw, they don't focus on the defense. And I don't know if that's how you're trained to do it or it's just something that they develop. It's what I noticed in this fight. Again, Garcia arguably won every round. I'm not taking away from the win. I'm not taking away from the performance. I'm saying that we have to look at the level of opponent because with the different levels of opponents, there's no way he's going to pull that kind of performance off against every opponent he's in there with. He pulled this off because Tagoe didn't try. When Tagoe did try, when he actually threw punches, he was effective. He was landing on Garcia. That's the point I'm making. So the guy that's going to beat Garcia is somebody that's not afraid of the power, that's able to react to the shots coming, able to avoid just in time and counter him off that, because he leaves himself so open to it. So if I look at guys like CM Punk Kambosos, if he went to war with Ryan Garcia, I don't know that Garcia gets out of that. I honestly don't. If Garcia went up against Teofimo Lopez, I'm not sure Garcia gets out against Lopez. I certainly don't see Garcia beating Tank Davis. Like if I go down the list, the only fighter I can think of that might where he might have a chance against him is maybe Devin Haney. And that's only because Devin Haney is heavily defensive. He's also very accurate when he does throw, but he doesn't have the power to really make you respect him. So it's like Garcia could pretty much walk him down, even though he's not the bigger guy. I don't know. I'm giving the feedback of what I see, that Garcia's got some work to do off the throw, get your defense up. He's defensively strong when he's not throwing, but when he's throwing, he's so committed to the throw, he's not keeping himself safe, where somebody who is actually trying, which Tagoe didn't, if somebody's trying, I think he'd get clipped and caught and dropped and possibly wrecked. And maybe that's a style change he chose to do for some reason, but I don't think it suits him very well. We need to see him against somebody who's really engaged in trying to beat him. We need to see him against somebody who's an aggressor. I think that's where we're going to test my theory. Somebody who's really an aggressor, somebody who is going to go after him. That's where we're going to know if what I'm saying is true, that somebody who's aggressive is able to take him out, because so far he's not fought against heavily aggressive fighters to date. So we don't really have a sense. I'm going off the body language I'm seeing, that it feels like somebody's going to be able to counter him off that jump. Regardless, he gets it done in dominant fashion against Emmanuel Tagoe. And I was, again, impressed decision-wise. It's a good, solid decision win. No problem. But it's Ryan Garcia. This early in his career, you don't expect him to get that kind of a win against this type of opponent who's barely trying. All I'm saying is I think we need to see him tested a little bit. This is a good get-back fight. He can step up a little bit more. I think you keep him away from the title picture for now. I would not put him in there with anybody who's at the top level at this moment, unless it's possibly a Devin Haney, who, of course, is about to fight CM Punk Kambosos. If Devin Haney's able to take out Kambosos, then, okay, you can maybe make a case for Garcia to earn maybe an eliminator or something to go against Devin Haney. Then we'll really know, because Devin Haney would test my theory good from a decision perspective, like maybe keep Garcia from where he's not even able to land the power shot and just outbox him over 12. And that would expose the theory that, okay, yeah, he's got the power. Yeah, he's going to knock you out. But if he can't land, he's just eating shots left and right against a fighter who's not going to be afraid of him. Or if Kambosos pulls it out against Devin, which it's not unheard of, it could happen, then you're dealing with a guy who has quick hands, quick feet, who's durable, who could possibly take it in the trenches and give it back. And when Garcia goes to war, he seems to come out on the tail end of that exchange. That would be an exciting fight to see as well, to test where Garcia is at. We'll see where he goes from here. I give him kudos for the win. I just think there needs to be some work done on keeping his face, protected, keeping his body protected, just protection in general when he's mid-throw seems like a gap to me. Anybody disagrees, I want the smoke.